autumn equinox is almost upon us, and one way the garden tells me it's almost here is the sedum. It comes out in its beautiful autumn-coloured flowers to let us know it's cooling down and the days are getting shorter. We feel it too, us gardeners and homesteaders. We feel the shift because we are closer to nature when we tend to a garden and grow food seasonally. The pears are almost ready and the grass is starting to come back. The sunflowers are heavy with seeds, ready to harvest for the chickens to eat over the winter. Everything that was growing or flowering over the summer is starting to set out its seed and prepare to toss its seed around for the next season to come. We grow a lot of apples on our farm, and they are all heritage breeds of apples. And one way you can tell that the apples are ready, you can take them off and cut them open. If the seeds are white, then they haven't matured yet. But if the seeds are black or brown, they are ready to harvest. But another way I like to tell whether the apple is ready to harvest is that it will just snap off really easily when you just tilt it up a little bit, and it will just snap off easily. I will try and search for this apple tree name and I shall pop it on the screen above. We have a chart of all our apple rows and that tells us what the apple is, but I can't tell you from sight what these are. I do have a feeling that they are a cooking apple. They are pretty close to like a Granny Smith sort of flavoured apple. Very, very nice. Definitely a fantastic cooker, and these apples have really got a good size about them. Okay, I've just cut open that apple that I started eating and the seeds are still a little bit white. So this tells me that the apples aren't completely ready. They may get sweeter if we leave them on the tree, and also some of these are just not coming off naturally. They're just not clicking off. So I will leave the rest on here, put the net back over them to protect them from the cockatoos, and we shall come back again in a couple of weeks and see where they're at. I am going to thoroughly enjoy cooking these up though. They're going to be delicious. All right, we're a bit further down at this other tree. This is a bit of a younger tree than the one next to it. And I can sort of tell by the base, like the base is smaller than this one here. But I have some apples falling off this tree. So I wonder whether they're ready. I'll just cut one open and we'll see. And look at that. The pips inside are a nice brown colour. Let's have a taste. This one is nice. Has a bit of a dry flavour about it, but it's really crunchy. So these ones have been falling off, and I suspect because I've had the netting on this, it's falling off just naturally, not because of the birds. But let's open this one and see this one that's fallen. Yeah, so this one that's fallen has got brown seeds as well. So this tree is ready to harvest from. So I preserve my apples in a lot of different ways. One way is we dehydrate them. So we've just done some dehydrating of apples. The only thing with dehydrating the apples is they don't last long because my kids eat them all. I also like to stew the apples and I bottle them up this way. I can also freeze them, but they do can well as stewed apples. And I'll also just dice them up and put them in a little bit of a syrup. You can bottle them in just water, but I find I've lost a few jars to just doing them in water. You can do them in honey, so you can make a syrup with honey and you can make a syrup with sugar. I wouldn't recommend any other forms of sweetener. So honey works really well. You actually need less honey than sugar if you're using honey. I like to try and keep the skins on everything I cook. So my potatoes, my carrots, everything, fruit, because the nutrients is generally just under the surface of the skin. And we want to make sure we get as much nutrients as we can. Look at this titchy tiny one. It's so small. I have some friends coming around tomorrow to help me in my garden, so I will share this bounty of goodness with my friends. Another sign that it is autumn are all of the tomatoes that are ripening up now. So it is prime time to start bottling all your tomatoes and getting them away for the winter, but also to enjoy the bounty of autumn that autumn brings. It is definitely a joyous time, autumn, and it's probably why autumn is my favorite season of the year. I'm going to leave the rest in this area for my friends to pick tomorrow. One of my favourite ways to use up all the cherry tomatoes is to make a cherry tomato focaccia. This time around, I made gluten-free flour focaccias using a mixture of different flours. One I milled myself and the other was a store-purchased flour. They both turned out really lovely, so I'll definitely use them again. In the past, I've used wheat flours, and I always utilize my Thermomix machine to make the dough up by following one of their many recipes. It uses yeast, and I add salt and rosemary on top of the cherry tomatoes. My son prefers olives on his focaccias over the cherry tomatoes, so usually I will make a portion of the focaccia without cherry tomatoes and with olives instead. So you can omit the cherry tomatoes and use olives when your olives are in season and ready to consume. I highly recommend making yourself a cherry tomato focaccia and pairing it with a delicious soup. It is so yummy. I've been picking tomatoes this morning and there are quite big ones in this lot. I'm finally getting a good basketful of big tomatoes, which is very, very exciting. And as you can see in front of me and behind me, this row is completely ready for me to plant thanks to friends helping out. This was where I had potatoes planted, and now I'm going to be planting garlic and brassicas in this section. I'm very excited to get them in. I'm just waiting for a wheelbarrow of manure to spread. I've already put down some dynamic lifter and some rock dust, and I'll also be putting down some gypsum as well. We also harvested another 20 kilos of potatoes over in my other garden just recently with friends, and that is an area that I can plant in now as well. Thank you so much again for watching, my friends. Please remember to comment down below. Let me know how you're going, how your garden is doing. And if you can, I'd love if you could hype and like and share my videos. It it's really helping me that people are watching my videos at the moment while I can't work. And by hyping them and sharing them, more people can find me here. It's getting a bit windy now. I'm going to leave it there, and I will see you again very soon for another video. See you, friends.